Hello, this is Weekend Deal coming to you live from the network service of the NTA. Yesterday, we promised you we'll be right back here today with the conversation we started yesterday. And thank God we are here. We continued our conversation that we started with yesterday. We were taking a look at the various government interventions and we're asking some very critical questions. We'll begin with our background as put together by Francis Ogbe.
In response to Nigeria's demand that the federal government act swiftly to get the country out of socio-economic crisis in 2015, the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration introduced some social intervention programs aimed at alleviating the suffering of the masses. The programs include the home feeding program for primary school students, the conditional transfer of cash to the very poor, the N-Power volunteer plan for 500,000 graduates, and the state program for empowerment, a scheme of borrowing managed by the Bank of Industry.
The whole essence of conditional cash transfer was to introduce or usher into our economy in the new policy of government in terms of welfare of Nigerians. So far, those who applied and majority of those who actually applied have gotten this conditional cash transfer. However, there are some hiccups in that those who are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that this thing is done with the clear intent of the president and to get to the people have been a sort of clog in the success to this policy. Some of them have devised a way of midwifing those who get, choosing and picking, and then favoring certain groups and ethnic group or states or even people against those who ordinarily are supposed to benefit from this.
There's so many interventions. So was it global? When I mean global, did it go around the whole country? Did certain part of the country get and others didn't get? That's what I don't know. But the conditional cash transfer came to my constituency and it went round.
The various social intervention programs were initiated and designed to create jobs for the youth and also alleviate poverty among women and the vulnerable groups. The Central Bank of Nigeria has also launched a number of intervention schemes in its bid to ensure that individuals, households, and businesses across all sectors of the economy receive support to sustain their operations and livelihoods.
I've seen people who told me they got that loan and the moratorium is upward of 6-12 months and the interest rate is just 5%. I happen to have had something to do with NISA, the bank that is primarily responsible for giving out this loan. I've seen some of their documents, 5%. It's so friendly. CBN made it really, really very accessible, very available, and many persons got.
As a way to further reduce the unemployment rate, the federal government launched the Public Works Program to employ hundreds of thousands of unskilled workers who have not been able to earn a living as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. The program aims to employ 774,000 workers, that is 1,000 from each of the country's 774 local government areas in public works project for an initial 3 months.
I don't think anybody has benefited from that. There are so many we filled from the National Assembly here, from the local government, from the state, and from other agencies. NTA, National Directorate of Employment, I filled from all those also my constituents. I'm not aware that anybody has resumed. But even that, I was not really in support of that, because now you're going to give people employment for 3 months to do what? To clean the street and all that. Okay, who was cleaning the street before now? You know? That's supposed to be the work of the local government. So if you must put that fund, why don't you just do something? Do something like what? Yeah, maybe you can fix the roads. So 3 months after, what would the people do? People, they are not used to getting that every month. 3 months after. Because you are trying to cushion it. I do understand clearly. But I didn't think that was the right way to do it.
It has taken off in most local governments, and I can also speak as a fact that most Nigerians who I happen to have logged into their index have received alert. Any local government that have not received alert, it simply means it's a problem of the bank that was supposed to be in charge of the disbursement, not the federal government.
The need to repackage the social intervention programs to make more people at the grassroots benefit from it cannot be overemphasized.
So my preference would have been, if it's a road or 2-3 roads you want to fix within a constituency, within a local government, with that money, let that be the intervention. Remember, when you are doing that road, the contract is awarded. There are people that will work genuinely, not sit down at home and earn 20,000 naira. Or you say they should go and sweep the streets. When that's the job of the local government, and it's been happening. So people will come out within that time and work as maybe laborers or whatever. But you have also stimulated the economy of that local government. And people would have genuinely earned money. And you have created a service.
I must appreciate the fact that much is being done, but again, a lot more needs to be done.
Our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on government intervention schemes. How far, so far? Weekend Deal.
Thank you so much, Frances. The Anchor Borough program is one of the so many interventions of the federal government. And like the question we've been asking, is it effective? Can people access it? To tell us more about this intervention, Charles Obike has put together this feature.
In Nigeria, failing to cope and address fluctuating political and economic realities have resulted to spillover effect on government intervention network. But not limited, its framework falsely assumes the interests of diverse citizens and their expectations.
Not only the federal government of this era, that of President Muhammad Buhari, not only his administration, like Goodluck Jonathan, like President Obasanjo, and so on and so forth. All these people, they were able to create programs to empower Nigerians. There's no doubt that all these empowerment programs are well thought out. Their creators did so well by creating them. And the essence is to ensure that Nigerians are empowered, Nigerians are employed, Nigerians through small-scale businesses are given the opportunity to do something.
I've not really seen any impact because government did not use the right channel to give information and to distribute these funds to the right people that needed it. Some Nigerians even use it to scam others. Let government do the right thing at the right time.
Overwhelmingly, the federal government has pumped in huge amounts to fund various intervention programs.
If you initiate a program, do not hesitate to find a way of monitoring your program so that it will trickle down to the real people that is meant to serve.
I have heard in some states that some have gotten, but majority have not seen anything. So let me advise that they should pass this money through these funds through churches. That is where it will reach the grassroots.
Locked in a cycle of underdevelopment, Nigeria's economy requires strong and productive base in manufacturing, agriculture, and trade stability.
The CBN, which from the developmental functions of the central bank, they have a program called Anchor Borrower, which were launched by the president in line with agricultural policy to expand our agricultural output and input, which on that basis, I can say that the government has done very well. The Anchor Borrower were to help and assist the peasants farmer in terms of cultivations that will lead to mechanized agriculture. 1.3 trillion naira was earmarked on that program that the CPN already had. So far, so good. the program has been able to do a lot in our various agricultural interventions, especially if you are looking at rice productions and rice milling.
With rising dependence, anchor borrower facilities are available for potential investment opportunities.
In the recent, we are majorly consuming rice from Thailand and other countries in the world. But when the program started, you can see declining in terms of importations of foreign rice, which today the local rice are taking some level in our market, where most places you go, you'll be able to see a lot of rice that are locally produced. You cannot get it overnight. Now, by borrowing money from stage one in terms of cultivations and rice down to the millings, which now gets into mechanized and other various products.
A sustainable and independent economy is capable of structuring a reliable socio-political status.
You know how we told you yesterday that the agricultural sector has really been, the government has really focused on the agricultural sector, and with the aim of diversifying the economy. Anchor Borrower program is one of the interventions targeted towards the agricultural sector. From the Anchor Borrowers program, we'll go to Trader Money. What is Trader Money? NTA Lagos Channel 10 has got this.
Over the years, various efforts have been made by the Nigerian government to elevate poverty in the country. In 2016, the National Social Intervention Program (NCIP) was created by President Buhari with the mandate of uplifting about 100 million Nigerians from poverty through a number of social intervention programs. And these include job creation programs, also known as NPower programs, National School Feeding Program, Conditional Cash Transfer Programs (CCT), as well as the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program (GEP). All these programs have been assisting many Nigerians, especially Trader Money, which is specifically created for petty traders and artisans across Nigeria.
It helped me a lot in my business, to boost my business because I'm a welder.
Really of benefits within my business. I sell bags, shoes, and I'm also into fashion design because I sew clothes. So it has really, I also use the money to get some machines.
This is to help them expand their trade through provision of collateral-free loans of an initial sum of 10,000 naira. In the course of our study, it was gathered that the Trader Money has directly imparted over 1 million beneficiaries since its inception. Though some Nigerians, mostly at the grassroots, complained that they haven't benefited from these programs.
1 year and bed, you never reach me.
Never collect. My people say they never collect. All of us here, nobody collects.
However, the federal government has revealed its plans to repackage these social intervention programs to ensure that more people at the grassroots benefit from it. Nominees for the execution of the repackaging of these programs are brought together and equipped with the tools needed to ensure proper distribution of the financial aid intervention program.
I promise to serve my country, mostly Lagos, and where I'm being assigned to diligently.
The Honorable Commissioner for Wealth and Employment in Lagos State emphasized that with a resolve to remain steadfast in ensuring that the program reaches its objectives, there would be an increase of beneficiaries of the program in the country.
We see the need to fill the lacuna, and we've been coming with a lot of initiatives in this ministry, and we've been getting the consent of Mr. Governor. The reason being that, you see, before you even come up with a plan, Mr. Governor already knows the end of it, you know. That was how we started last year, and we recommended the GIPP, you know, which is Graduate Internship Placement Program. Not really to replicate Empower that is being done at the federal government level, but the need was to really address issues of unemployment.
Okay, welcome back. We just have seen what is going on as far as the trader money is concerned. And like, I just want to remind us what the honorable member said yesterday. All these things are still work in progress. Okay, we'll be going over to Rivers State to see survivor funds and conditional cash transfer. It is put together by NTA Port Harcourt. Let's see this.
Poverty reduction has remained the major challenge in African continent where poverty menace have become so pronounced, especially in sub-Saharan Africa where Nigeria belongs. Statistics indicate that since the attainment of political independence in Nigeria, poverty has been on the increase with a consequent rise in population. Successive governments in Nigeria have persistently made efforts towards addressing the scourge of poverty.
In a healthy country, it's a country that its citizens can properly feed themselves. But when you look at our country, you see that our youth are not properly employed. They are not gainfully employed, either in agriculture or in the private sector.
Since 2015, the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari came on board, there have been efforts to alleviate poverty through the various intervention programs and policies. So far, how have these programs impacted the lives of the people in Rivers State?
SOCO is an arm of NASCO that was formed to establish the National Social Register for the poor and vulnerable households. There are criteria which they give you for you to know those who are poor and those who are not poor in that community. That means that it is the communities that identify those who are poor amongst them. And when you have those names, you sort of register them, capture them electronically, and we transmit to Abuja. For Rivers State, we have over 278,000 households in the National Social Register, giving us about 2 million persons. From 2018 to today, we have over 9,000 benefiting from the National Cash Transfer. Apart from that, there are other intervention programs that are mining from our social register.
The intervention is actually affecting them positively. There are a lot of improvement. You go to some of the families, they were not even able to feed their family, talk less of sending the children to school. But because of this money that has been given to them, which they now invest into doing business, they are now sending their children to school. Each time we get to the village or to the villages, to supervise or to monitor what they are doing, you see them excited. They are very happy. So it's actually helping them. In short, of recent, we have enrolled another 22,702 beneficiaries. Very soon, we will start payment.
In Rivers State, these intervention programs such as Youth Empowerment Scheme, Survivor Funds, Conditional Cash Transfer, and others which are significant to poverty reduction have made a beneficial impact on the target beneficiaries.
By virtue of Almighty God, just like that, in 28 days, we just got a lot of 30,000. Some people got 50,000. It helps us very well. It helps us in buying materials, because during that time, material was very high.
The cash transfer I got, I saw the alert and saw that it was the federal government, the survivor, they gave to everyone. So I like it, I appreciated it. So it helped me a lot, both in so many things like buying my clothes and saving money for my school fees ahead of time.
The federal government education program, we were trained. It's a kind of entrepreneurial training. And after that, some little financial assistance was given for us to start up our business or the area that we were trained in. So I think it was a good one.
No doubt these intervention programs have been quite successful even though some people are yet to benefit. More so, there is need for concerted efforts of all stakeholders in order to enhance effective policy implementation and appropriate execution of these well-planned programs.
Well, these intervention programs always go a long way. Our feedback lines will be on display. Do join this conversation. Let me take a message from one of our viewers. The viewer wrote, the intention and philosophy behind the social intervention is very good. The problem lies with the people saddled with the responsibility of disbursing it. This is Akinola Ololade from Ilorin, Kwara State. We'll be taking more messages. Do join the conversation. Now, the school feeding program was very popular at the beginning. What is the situation with that program now? We go over to Ekiti State to assess it.
In a spirited effort to provide succor to many Nigerians, with a view to empower them and alleviate poverty, the federal government rolled out several programs that impact positively on the socio-economic well-being of many citizens.
And part of the social intervention programs that the federal government has come up with is the homegrown school feeding program for pupils from primary 1 to 3 across the federation. In addition to that, we have the home build program where people with the artisans, the technicians are trained. You have the mechanics, the builders, and all that in there. And then we also have the social intervention program in the area of now stipends that are given to the elderly to be able to sustain them for some time and to engage them in small trading so that they'll be able to stand on their own.
Ekiti State, southwestern Nigeria, is a beneficiary of several of the intervention programs as many young people were trained on different vocations, while some received funds to promote their trade and agricultural production.
You are aware that recently, and what is recent, federal government approved extended special public work across all local governments, 744 local governments, 74 local governments in Nigeria, which Ekiti is having 16 local governments, which means that in Ekiti, 16,000 benefited, and they are being paid 20,000 per month, and the program lasted for 3 months. After the completion of the program, just of yesterday and Tuesday and Wednesday, we went to 3 local governments in each senatorial district. We gave them exit strategy.
One of the beneficiaries of the intervention programs in agriculture speaks.
We went for training through the NTA, training for 3 months. So we were trained on poultry. I was trained on poultry. So after the training for that 3 months, I was given 150,000 as a loan, but I have paid back the loan. So I've keep on doing the same business, which is the poultry, rearing of bird and boiler. Both boiler and the one laying egg, which is, we call it pullet. We still need more assistance to come into our aid to help us, because after the corona pandemic, everything went down and we are struggling to keep our head above the water.
I was trained by government, NTA Ado Ekiti. So I am a caterer. They said to me, then they also gave me a freezer. They gave me cylinder, set of pots, and set of spoon for the work. And I really appreciate them for this.
My own department is fabrication and welding. They only try because they are establishment and train us skills. So since then, I'll be using the engine they give to us, working. So I really appreciate them.
For Ekiti State, many youths acknowledge the laudable efforts of the federal government but appeal that the government should do more, as many young persons still need the assistance of the government to ameliorate their socioeconomic conditions. The intervention programs of the federal government are quite relevant to the needs of millions of hardworking Nigerians. The states and the local governments, as well as non-governmental organizations, would do well to complement the efforts of the federal government.
Thank you, NTA Ekite. We'll go on a break. Our guest is in the house, but it will be right after the break, so don't go away. Welcome back. We have like I told you before the break, we have our first guest in the house. He is Dr. Umar Bendir. He's a national coordinator of the National Social Investment Program. Sir, you're welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
It's always a pleasure coming to this wonderful program.
Oh, sir,
Yeah.
it's our pleasure to have you. So you kept correcting us. You said not intervention, but investment. Let's start from there. What is the difference as far as this is concerned?
Well, it's just nomenclature.
Okay.
The way it was designed and written, NSIP,
Okay.
National Social Investment Program.
Okay.
It's intervention anyway.
Okay.
The whole program is intervention. Because
Okay.
the reason being, poverty is a big deal in Nigeria.
Yes.
And it's not just Nigeria.
All over the world.
This continent has 54 countries. All the 54 countries are poor countries. Africa doesn't have a developed country. And therefore, poverty is an issue. But this poverty in this continent could have actually been crushed if 3 countries actually get their act together.
Okay.
In the north is Egypt. In the middle is Nigeria. In the south is South Africa. These are the big economies. However, Egypt is very Arabian and Arabic and Gulf. So it does not actually lend to the traditions of sub-Saharan Africa. Therefore, when they do their things, the cultures differ and so they cannot take the burden of,
Okay.
South Africa, in real sense, is actually a European economy.
I agree.
And it started like that. It was a nuclear power during the apartheid regime. Therefore, it does not, again, really mimic the sub-Saharan cultures. Nigeria is key. This is the country of the continent where most black people are there and very vibrant, with the knowledge capital bubbling like crazy. Over 200 full-fledged universities. No country has that. So it is important that Nigeria gets it right so that the metamorphosis of the whole country and the osmosis of success will now influence the others. So that is why poverty alleviation has always been on the agenda in this country. And you remember, even during the military, we had People's Bank, we had DIFRI, we had MAMSA. Even the present president, when he was military, he launched War Against Indiscipline. He thought indiscipline was the thing leading us to poverty. And then it came down to the Abachas when we had FEAP, Family Economic Advancement Program, all to do with poverty. When Obasanjo came, it was NAPEP, all to do with poverty. And then now we are dealing with lifting 100 million people out of poverty in the next 10 years. Very clear target. And therefore, everything we do, all our ministries, probably between 30 and 40 of them, nearly 50 to 60% at the federal level, is all doing poverty alleviation. When you go down to the state, every single action of the state governments is to do with poverty eradication. People don't notice that. When you go to Ministry of Education, you beg, it's the poverty content of education because it's tackling basic education. You go to health, it's not about big hospitals and so on. Primary health care is the poverty level. You go to water resources, rural water supply is the issue. You go to Ministry of Labor, NDE trying to, create this is the poverty. You go to Ministry of Industry, it's not about Dangote and so on. It is the Small and Medium Industrial Development Agency. It's tackling. So everybody is statutorily,
Tackling poverty
yes,
at a point.
it has been targeted.
Yes. Some of these schemes have been, government after government have had to put up or implement their own skills, interventions. Why are we still where we are as far as the impact? How will you assess the impact of all these interventions from the get-go?
Well, I probably think maybe you advise the president, because creatively, Mr. President realized this. All these programs are standalone, and they come up, they do what they can do, and they die off because it's a program. Either it's a parastatal or a program that is hanging and so on. That's why the president decided that to kill this monster, we need a fantastic institutional arrangement. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, that we have a ministry dedicated for poverty eradication. And that is the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development. And it is under this ministry that the NSIP that was initially created in 2015 with implementation that started in 2016 in the office of His Excellency, the Vice President, the President and the Vice President decided that, yes, we need to sustain this. In case we finish off in 2023, it should not be another of these programs again that will die. Move it to the ministry and consolidate it very well. Took NEMA activities, the humanitarian activities, the design, all under the ministry, and give the ministry the empowerment to consolidate and become a fantastic structure for pushing this stronger and stronger. So even after the administration, ministries don't die of like programs, and therefore you have an infrastructure. On top of that, I think it's visible for everybody that watches TV and sees Mr. President chose what I call as Madam Humanitarian, Madam Poverty Alleviation as the minister. This is one of the most dedicated people. You know, poverty hits you and runs after you and pellets you anyhow. But she's steady, she's strong, and she's leading us all to ensure that we remain coordinated, facilitating cooperation with others to fight this poverty. So the NSIP creatively is a program of programs. It's a bouquet of programs. But all the programs is targeted at the major cause of poverty, which is skills and unemployment.
Okay, another question I want to ask here is this. Nigeria, there's one problem I see. I think we have, and that is statistics. Do we have database? Do we have a database to say we have this social number of people without jobs or who need intervention? Or are we just planning around an estimate? Do we have data? Do we have data?
Excellent question. You see, the statutory agency for handling statistics and data is National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay.
But for the first time in the history of this country, that we have now, in partnership with Bureau of Statistics and all the other sectors, created what we call as the National Social Register. This is a register of every single poor household in Nigeria. In fact, what we're doing is that it's not just allowing the community to say, Madam has a car, her 2 children have graduated, Madam, you are not, your house is not really poor, you can rest small. Then they look at Madam, she has no skills, her children are too many, her husband is not employed, he's sick. This is a poor household, so enter register. This is done in the community. And I'm telling you, as we speak, we have documented out of our population of maybe 40 to 50 million poor people in Nigeria. We have documented nearly 40 million in this register. And the idea here, the president said, is when you have the social register, state by state, local government by local government, ward by ward, the federal, what we use the word mine, like mining, you can use this data to now implement your project because you take some. The other agencies of the federal government will also use the same data to mine more. You allow the data to be available to the state government. They also mine more. Local government initiative mine more. Even you, as a philanthropist, the data is open to you. You can mine. You see names of people that you know. So this is a strategy that has been deployed by many countries, including China, that actually lifted more than 300 million people out of poverty in 10 years.
Okay, hold that thought. We'll continue in the line of that conversation. But let's go to Jos and see the effect of social intervention program in Plateau State.
In a drive to boost the Nigerian economy and alleviate millions from the clutches of poverty, especially during this period of COVID-19, the federal government has initiated numerous programs and policies aimed at creating job opportunities, skill acquisition, financial inclusion, and a favorable economic environment for businesses, small and medium enterprises to thrive.
The National Social Investment Program basically was flagged off. It was put in place in order to support the poor and vulnerable, as well as unemployed youths. The main objective is to provide job opportunities for graduates that are unemployed and to provide skills to graduates and non-graduates who desire to go into skill acquisition and become entrepreneurs.
Plateau State has in no small measure also embarked on projects of social interventions channeled towards youth empowerment and creation of vocational opportunities. The state, in an attempt to promote activities of small and medium enterprises, has distributed starter packs and equipment to beneficiaries that have been trained in different crafts so that they gain financial independence.
Most of our youths in the plateau that have gone through most of our programs like the entrepreneurship development programs and skills acquisition program have been able to establish their businesses because after these programs government was able to establish them with what we call starter packs to do their businesses, and we have trained youths in various skills like cosmetology, welding and fabrication, building construction value chain, fashion design, photography, and a lot of these skills.
The homegrown school feeding program has also been adopted in schools in Plateau State. Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program GEP, established to provide support and training to businesses and entrepreneurs at the bottom of the financial pyramid by equipping them with low-cost micro-lending, has in no small measure provided succor to many Plateau citizens.
I started my business before, like as in my family and friend. They support me with a small capital. I started the business. Then after that, I received the COVID-19 support from the federal government. So I continue using the money to boost my business. Now I have 7 workers.
I'd love to appreciate, the federal government for this intervention, most especially in these trying times of COVID-19, which a lot of businesses were not able to thrive. But through this intervention, it keeps our business lively and it keeps thriving.
But when I saw the alert, I was surprised. So it was wonderful. It has helped really, not just really me, but my members.
We are advocating and we are encouraging people to believe and have faith and have confidence in government interventions, particularly the National Social Investment Program. It has a huge contribution towards removing people from poverty situation to a situation of enhanced well-being.
In a bid to fulfill its promises to Nigerians, the federal government, through its National Social Intervention Program, traveled deep into the rural and hilly areas of Plateau State to administer its conditional cash transfer policy to the people of Chip. The most vulnerable households and those considered extreme cases were chosen to receive these benefits to no small delight as they danced and sang in appreciation.
Wow. So our guest is still in the house. Welcome back. You see, this is Plateau State, and see the response. What is your take on that? How will you respond to that?
Well, actually, it's very interesting and warm-heartening or heartwarming to listen to this from the very good doctor. But this is happening all over the country. A lot of people will come and say, oh, it's not reaching out everywhere. You cannot reach everywhere at the same time because remember, poverty is a key problem in this country and there are many people everywhere. But I can tell you the way the social investment program has been designed, which is integrated, one leading to the other, first is the NPower. NPower has 2 components. It mines from the pool of unemployed youths, nearly 22 million of them who are graduates of tertiary institutions roaming around, and then attaches these people as volunteers to schools to teach, to healthcare facilities to provide healthcare services, to farms to provide extension services while taking a stipend of 30,000 naira. And then to follow them and give them what we call as livelihood training. Training in the sense that, can you now remodel or reorient a young person who is taking 30,000 to start thinking, I need to save 5,000 so that I can be able to do 1, 2, 3. If this program stops, I can continue my life. This is not as common as people think. So this program now trains them and gingers them. We give them facilities, open opportunities for them so that By the time they graduate after the 1 year, then some people will say, this handling 20 chickens to produce eggs, and it's not difficult, because look at what I did on that farm. If only I can have 50,000 or 100,000, I will also raise my 50. Then at the gate of that training, Jeep is waiting for you. The government enterprise and empowerment program with the 50,000 and the 100,000, interest-free, no collateral. Those poor people in those poor households will now have the fourth cluster, which is the conditional cash transfer. 5,000 naira to this household every month, and plus again livelihood training. So my mother, if she's in that house, she knows how to extract oil out of granules. She knows how to make dudu oshun. She knows how to make dadawa. She knows how to fry akara, but she doesn't have a penny. So out of that 5,000, she may take 500 naira, buy 2 mudu of beans, and make moi moi, because she's a professor of these things. And that is how she now integrates.
Okay. Quickly, because time is running out. We had the House Committee Chairman on poverty eradication yesterday, and he said that instead of loans, he would rather they give grants to these people, because a lot of the real poor people don't even have access to a bank account. They don't even know what BVN is all about, and all these are encumbrances because they cannot even access these funds. What is your take on that?
Well, the House Committee Chairman is right, but you see, in development, the reason why you intervene to ensure people develop is that you try to train them for this livelihood to get higher level. So when you go to places where there is no bank, try to see the creative way of creating a banking facility so that these women who think they are very rural, they don't know bank, they will now see a POS person sitting in their community, is their child, and they can save 2,000, 3,000, and that is how development works. You get what I mean? And with grants, yes, the conditional cash transfer is grant. It's free.
Okay.
But certainly you have to inject loans to people who have to have the mentality of, let me work very hard and pay, and the rest will become mine.
Okay, so before we go, I just want to ask, some critics will say, why don't you revive our industries? It will have more far-reaching effect on the society. What do you think about that?
I totally agree with that. But you see, in trying to develop a country, it's layer by layer, like we discussed. In healthcare, there is high hospitals, there is primary healthcare. In education, there are universities, and there are also primary schools. So also in industry, there are the Dangotes and the flour millers and so on. But also there is my mother's industry that is making akara. So that is how it works. And layer by layer, that's how we tackle it.
Doctor, that was incredible. But let's go to NTA Meduguri. The impact of the federal government. Okay, so I thought we had more time, but Doctor, we don't have more time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. It was good listening to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And stay safe.
Yes. We will now go to NTA Meduguri to see the impact of the national loan to farmers.
The level of income and economic well-being of a nation is determined by several factors which agriculture and trading is part of. As a result, agriculture and trading investment is integral to development.
Food security is number one. Then, if we have surplus, we start looking for money to solve our other problems. And we still have surplus, we also look at the aspect of export.
Agriculture in Nigeria has undergone profound structural, social and technological changes, addition to agricultural policies, projects, programs in order to enhance agricultural production for economic development.
The University of Maiduguri, the Center for Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Development of this university is an entrepreneurship development institute as appointed by the National Microfinance Bank itself. So here we have a center that is an EDI, and I can tell you also that I was the immediate past director of the Center for Entrepreneurship, and I have conducted 2 training programs for National Bank loan applicants. CBN, through the National Finance Bank, will not just give you the money until you are trained.
We have so many people reading agriculture, and we are talking of unemployment. Employ them, let them go to join the farming. Government should be able to look at this aspect. Government should look inwards, develop the existing sector, and then see that the people are actually trained and properly advised.
Notwithstanding all the efforts of the government on agriculture and trading, there are still challenges in the agricultural sector.
What do a simple farmer require to boost his farming? One is proper seedling, good seedling, proper and correct chemicals, herbicides, insecticides, and so on. Now this will boost an ordinary farmer's production of 1 hectare to maybe about 80 or 90% of his normal local production. So, but what government does is, of course, you'll see that theoretically, but they'll hand it over to the wrong group. Then when it comes to the implementation, then it becomes a separate problem entirely.
There are EDI appointed by National Finance Bank that don't even do the training. So they have to look at that very, very well, so that the safety of a lender is concerned is what is the safety of the money is lending. If the money will go out and it will not come back, it will not be revolving so that others can get that in the future. Government should also be very, very tough on those who take and would refuse to pay. Because if you take and you don't pay, you deprive government the opportunity of giving these resources to others who are subsequently waiting in the queue to get the money.
There is more need to boost the country's agricultural and trading system for the achievement of desirable economic growth.
Okay, from Meduguri, we'll come back in-house and take a look at trader money again, as put together by Tete Ayuba.
In the recent past, there have been various empowerment initiatives that have been introduced to help alleviate the hardships of the common man and woman in Nigeria. Several administrations have invested in social protection by establishing poverty alleviation and social investment schemes. Some of these have included the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme, PES, Youth Enterprise with Innovation in Nigeria, YOUWIN, just to mention a few. And most recently is the Trader Money Initiative. The Trader Money Empowerment Scheme, which was publicly inaugurated by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in a couple of major markets in Nigeria, is a novel government attempt to provide microfinance and complementary economic service through social protection systems. The objective of this program is to provide small loans to small-scale traders or artisans, groups that usually cannot access loans or credit through banks and traditional financial institutions. The Trader Money Scheme is one of the arms of the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, initiated in May 2016 by the Federal Government of Nigeria on the platform of its National Social Investment Program. A quick visit to the Trader Money website explains the process through which interested people can learn more about the initiative, apply, and eventually benefit from it.
The trader's journey to a loan starts from being enumerated by an agent.
First
We manage a network of over 17,000 agents across the country, each agent equipped with an app. With that app, they walk up to the trader and they capture about 43 data points on every single trader. We capture lots of data points that enable us to truly understand the beneficiary.
With millions of records so far, how is all that data managed?
We take it through a process that essentially helps us to first validate the entries, make sure that they are bona fide traders, artisans and farmers, but also it helps us to minimize fraud.
Beneficiaries such as Precious Chidaka, a hairdresser from Abia State, shares her experience.
A neighbor rushed in, she was like, Trader Money people, they came. So I got interested, so I just came out, register. Then suddenly, early this morning by 7, so I got a test that I'm being approved for the loan. So I just rushed out and came out.
The major advantage of this scheme is that it is completely interest-free. And once initial beneficiaries complete their initial loan repayment of 10,000 naira, they receive an automatic loan offer of a higher amount, which is 15,000 naira. And so it continues till the beneficiary can access up to 100,000 naira, which is quite an encouraging strategy to ensure that these monies assists those that it's meant for.
With this, it will really help with the youth for us to, for our business to grow and for us to, as a not to start walking around, not doing anything.
The Trader Money Scheme, along with the other schemes under the JEEP initiative, promises to touch more small-scale businesses as it progresses in its reach for a stronger, more vibrant economy.
You, Tete Ayuba. Still in-house, Dayola has put together a feature on the impact of trader money on our economy.
Farmers, market men, women and artisans contribute the largest population of the Nigeria labor force. The micro-enterprises in this group have always cited access to finance as their primary challenge because many of them are underbanked or unbanked. Market Money, one of the government enterprises and empowerment programs, a special intervention program of the federal government, is an expansive and affordable financial assistance program with 60% of fund targeted at women to provide the desired cash flow to the people in this demography at no interest besides the 5% administrative fees.
I collect. I didn't collect any.
Yes, I got.
Then give me 10,000. I spend them. You know what reach me to do business.
Yes, I got.
Because things are very expensive that time, you cannot use 10,000 and start a business.
The money is very low. It's low. I understand. Like us now, we just collect our money. They say they want to give you something, no money. I will collect anyhow. Because the money is low much.
After we collect the 10,000, there's another one where they will come say that government won't give 150,000. That one they say before you collect you have to pay 500. And because people don't see the 30,000 collect that time, they are put through. Then continue to the big for 500. And that one, nothing.
You know what reach me to do business.
Yes, I got.
Because things are very expensive that time, you cannot use 10,000 and start a business.
Thank you so much, Dayo. We'll now go over to take a look at the macro credit intentional scheme in that state.
Ishiaku started poultry way back as a young ambitious graduate who wanted to create his own job. Little capital and losses he suffered through a short period pulled him down to a level in the poultry business for years until he secured the NISA loan in 2019.
The requirements are very, very cheap. Interest rate, all those are compared to commercial bank lending. It was very, so I was like, if this should come, it's an opportunity, a lifetime opportunity for me. So I waited for almost a year before I was called for an interview at CBN. And luckily I was successful at the interview. Then after which the program was transferred to NISA Microfinance Bank. And they called me for a second interview, a live video interview with their head office Abuja. I was also successful in that one. And to cut the story short, I think I was the first. Yes, I was told, I'm not even thinking, I was told that I was the first to get this access loan in the whole of Sokoto under NISA Microfinance Bank.
Such as NISA Microfinance, there are many social support programs targeted at lifting Nigerians from poverty and the dwindling income level and lack of capital to do business. Otherwise, the cyclical effect that comes with these problems can make life difficult to many Nigerians and shut down many businesses. Around 2017, information was all over the country about Nisal Microfinance federal government loan. Victor Jamaica was optimistic and worked on credible information to eventually be listed as a potential beneficiary. After some years as a successful applicant, what was potential to Victor Jamaica has become treasure in the form of training, skills, and the capital she has acquired to run a successful, small-scale agro-business.
What we are working towards is from farm to table. What I mean from farm to table is that we are working directly with the farmers to produce what we process, package, and then sell to consumers directly. So that is why we don't just pick anything from the market and just process and sell. We have 5 people working with us. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there are so many issues that we have to drop to 2. But hopefully, just like what I've told you, we have put in place all the necessary things that will make us run even without the effect of the COVID-19. So in 2 months that we are going to be needing more hands, because it's not, some will be processing, some will be drying, some will be packaging. So the target number of employees that we are working to have is 10. We're starting with 10 minimum, and we hope to at least before the end of 2021 to have up to 50 staffs working for us.
Sidi Menasara is into plastic recycling. He makes out plastic product with huge market demand. Huge market demand requires machines to hasten the processes, which he has been able to acquire through the Nisal Microfinance. I had an existing plan, which I implemented when the loan came. There is certainly no better way of social support than making it possible for people to create jobs, especially to the young. Businesses also redistribute wealth across. CD now exports to major markets in Nigeria and neighboring countries. There are a handful of beneficiaries in the federal government microfinance whose dreams have come true and are doing business to make Nigeria proud. Success stories are to soon be told as the present regime seeks to gain grounds and a sound economic footing for Nigerians.
The interventions are on. It's work in progress. God continue to bless Nigeria. Thank you so much for staying with us. Goodbye. Peace.